G'day guys and girls, and welcome to another episode of Damo's Team Talk. Of course, coming out of round 7 and heading into round 8. So of course we will be discussing the trade plans heading into next week, as always. But first up, as we always say, if you like this video, if you can subscribe as well, because you've heard me say ad nauseum, Liam and I are trying to boost this YouTube channel towards the 1K subscriber mark. So if you can, caress softly that subscribe button, that'd be very much appreciated. But let's head into how my team went on the weekend. There we have it. That's how my team fared on the weekend for round 7. Absolutely amped. That's all I can be describing it as. I'm very, very happy with that. Was actually projected for a 2,500 score, believe it or not. But I think that was off the back of Dacos's projected. I think it was 166 or something ridiculous. But we'll get into him and the rest of the players in a moment. You'll see there most pleasingly, I've finally cracked inside the top 10K, and I'm on the cusp of the top 5K, which is amazing. Like, halving my rank within 1 week is well ahead of what I was hoping for coming out of the weekend. So super, super happy with that. As you'll see there, down to 20 trades. But in terms of the way that my team's structuring at the moment and it's coming together, I am very, very happy with that. So probably maybe a trade or two ahead of where I wanted to be, one of which was a trade that I didn't want to use on the weekend due to an injury to a certain player. But let's delve into my team, and I'll give you a bit of a peek as to how things are shaping up. So there we have it. That's my team and how it looked across the weekend. Starting from defence, I'll try and breeze through these and get into the juicier part, because I am super excited about the prospect of bringing in a certain player heading into round 8. So starting off with Nicky Dacos, obviously a 72. You would have heard Liam and I talk about the prospect of Keys tagging Dacos, and we said to Matthew Nix, now tune in, because we've got a little bit of an insight into the way that you can nullify Dacos, and he went down that route by putting Keys on him, and actually had an opponent follow him past the halfway point, past the centre line, which is just insanity, as it shows. Just don't overcomplicate things, just do the simple things, like manning up Dacos, because he does his best work forward of centre. So incredible scenes. But he scored a 72, was nullified. I know a lot of people, well, not a lot, but a fair few of you owners out there actually put the captaincy on him, which was a little bit of a risk. And Liam and I identified that and was happy as not as an owner, but because it affected me as well, but a little bit of an anti-pod in a sense, because I was hoping for a lowish score, and it would benefit those of us who put the C elsewhere. Tom Stewart, 123, going from strength to strength again. If you don't have this guy, get him in your side. He's just absolutely incredible. Jack Sinclair, had him for 2 weeks now, punched out at 109, so looking good there. Jay-Z, tonned up again. This bloke, with every ton, I think every week, I'm thinking about him potentially being a keeper. So looking short there. A little bit of a scare during the game. Thought he may have done a hamstring injury. Went off, was assessed, came back on, thankfully, and tonned up as well. So good to see there. Seamus Mitchell, he was one of the traded in players, and I will, once I wrap up probably should have done this first and foremost, so apologies, but I'll get into it shortly, but he was one of the traded in players that a cash cow of his, ability brought in, and was happy enough with what he was scoring over his first 2 weeks, so I thought, well, might as well field him, and didn't bargain on the fact that Scrimshaw was named as a sub, wasn't able to change him off field, and probably couldn't anyway, because Cowan was a non-playing player, and already looped on Wilmot's score, so Seamus, unfortunately, was subbed off, I think in the third quarter, for 41, but he was probably on track for about 60, 70 odd, similar to what he did in his first 2 weeks, so Sam Mitchell, thanks, mate. You've bloody stuffed me up, because I could have had a bigger score than what I did. But it is what it is. Charlie Constable, he was there as a loop option for Darcy Wilmot, was able to use him to lock in Wilmot's 63. A bit of flexibility as well in terms of, you'll see there Will Day, who made his return to the Hawks side, as well as obviously my side, off the bench after suspension. So he was in the back line. I switched him into the midfield and switched Constable back to loop on Wilmot's score, because the other option was looping on the poo. The absolute poo again. He's living up to his name, and he just put in an absolute shit one with 20. So I didn't want to loop on his score, so I switched Day into the midfield and Constable into defence in order to loop on Wilmot's scores. And just that DPP flexibility that I've got across the park now is absolutely helping me, which was good to see. In terms of, before I go on any further, the trades that I did on the weekend, and you'll see here on the right-hand side. So LDU, he was the one guy who had to make way. He didn't really have to, but the fact is now he's been really super late out, and thankfully I didn't have him that week, but Liam did as well, so he got the brunt of that. But he's had a couple of issues now, that ankle injury, and now they're saying it's a heel injury, and it's something to me that I think could potentially linger, and I don't want it to be cropping up again and potentially leaving me with a donut later in the season when, you know, the rookies on the bench aren't as secure as what they are now. So thought I'd bite the bullet. Whereas initially I didn't want to really use the boost, ended up doing so because what it did afford me is to bring in my boy, Sammy Walsh, who I'll get into shortly how he performed. Was super happy first up. Brought him in before obviously his price rise. As I said, Seamus Mitchell came in. Michelini made way for Seamus. And did I just call him Sam Mitchell? I think I did. Sam Mitchell, you're on the brain, mate, for the wrong reasons. But Conor McKenna as well, I ended up opting to punt him as a bit of a stepping stone to Cogs. So it was either going to be originally, I think it was Wilmot to Seamus, and then it was Michelini to Cogs. So I wasn't actually going to get rid of McKenna, but as it turned out, he had to be a bit of a scapegoat in order to sort of make enough cash so I could bring in Walshy, my boy Walshy. I could not say no to that. So that was how my trades turned out. Then in terms of midfield, Bont got a 122, was tempted. I think he finished the game on 125, scaled back to 122, but the 120 to 125 mark, that's kind of the range where I lock in the VC. Didn't want to stuff around. My other option, my backup option for the captaincy was Sammy Walsh. So as it turned out, I gained an extra 5 points by going for Bont as my VC lock-in captain compared to Walshy. Rory Laird, I know there was that scare during the, I think it was early in the fourth, it might have been, or midway through the fourth, that there was an incorrect substitute that was listed on the AFL app, and the commentators fell for it. Even Adelaide Crow social media team fell for it as well and said that he was subbed out, but he wasn't, thankfully. So thankful, first and foremost, that Rory Laird played, because there was that question over the fact that he may not have even played because he had a bit of a calf niggle, tightness. They were going to be conservative and not play him, and some were saying, journos were saying that he wasn't going to make it, and the CEO came out and said, no, he's going to play. So the CEO, 2 thumbs up for you, mate, absolute ripper. Chef's kiss. Sammy Walsh brought him in, first up 117. I think he only went up about 2K or thereabouts, 1.1. But again, for me, he's operating as a bit of a primo pod, only in 5% of teams. So happy with that. My boy Walshy, looking good. Tom Green, 118, tackling machine. Good to have him back. Same likewise with Will Day, 97. Errol Goulden, 119. Just a bounce back. Great bounce back game for him. A lot of people were considering trading him, and I hope you heeded the advice that Liam and I gave out. Don't get rid of him. I mean, if you're going to trade players off the back of one poor performance, you're going to be running out of trades very, very quickly. And still, he's in the frame to potentially be a top 6 forward, which I've still got Goulden as a bit of a gap filler in the midfield at the moment. And bounced back from a 47 with a nice 119, and really arrested his slide in terms of the money that he was losing. But at the end of the day, if he's a keeper, couldn't care less how much money he bleeds. Jacob Hopper, he was probably the biggest disappointment coming out of the weekend with a 71, especially considering that his teammate and former teammate as well at the Giants in Timmy Taranto scored about a 140 odd. As you'll see down there, just the one thing that's concerning with Hopper, and they don't have the stats yet, I don't think, on DFS Australia, but his time on ground was the equal second lowest out of any Richmond player, and that's discounting the subs, of course, as well. So, you'll see that's kind of a common trend among his, every week, really. He's averaging around about, 85 to 90. I mean, that was probably a bit of an anomaly there where he played 106 minutes. Geez, he must have been the oxygen tanks on the bench in order to play those extra minutes. But, I mean, outside of that game there, he's only scored, and probably, round 2 game against Adelaide, he scored in the 70s and 90s and, 67. And that, to me, I mean, he's had 2 real good games. I mean, maybe 2.5, counting Melbourne's game, out of 6. And that's not enough. I mean, he's done his job now. He's gone up over 100k, 114.3k in price. And that's kind of what I was hoping to get out of him, at the very least minimum. Riding him as almost like a bit of a cash cow. And he's given us a few good weeks as well there. So I'm considering moving him on, potentially prematurely, because if he put in a score like he did, I guess tunning up virtually, he would have been able to make us more money. You would have noticed heading into the weekend, the next few weeks, he was looking to potentially make another 20 to 30k he was projected for, if he could maintain an average. But it's just these dips that he's having are really putting a bit of a dent in his cash potential. But if you are an owner, I mean, I'm not saying you should trade him if you don't have to, but for me, and I'll get into shortly why I'm looking to trade him now, you could potentially just hold him, because end of the day, he's still punching out half decent scores, and better scores than most rookies, apart from, say, an Ashcroft or a Sheasel or a Chandler as well. You look at it now, like Philippou, a lot of people still have him, not scoring well enough. Wilmot's up and down. Matty Johnson's going to be suspended for the next 2 weeks for that dangerous tackle. As we know, Roberts is out for at least 6 to 10 weeks with a knee injury. Fergus Green has now had a pretty bad game off the back of 3 games where he scored 70 odd. And Samson Ryan's been serviceable. He's been pretty good, actually. So, I mean, to be able to have him on field, as I said, there's more chance of him scoring better than these other rookies. So, he's kind of, aside from that, in my plans to be a trade candidate, and I will get into that shortly, as I said. Will Ashcroft kicked arguably the goal of the year, scored a 103. He'll probably be, and I think for a lot of people as well, be the last player or last rookie that I'll upgrade in my team, just because he's producing scores, on par with some mid prices and sort of veering up towards the semi-primo type scores as well. Like he's only 10 points on average behind Hopper, so he's performing well from week to week. Philippou, as I said, he's someone that I was actually going to get rid of as well on the weekend. He was up there with either Wilmot or Philippou. You got to stay of execution, Philippou, for probably the 3rd time, I reckon, at the death, because LDU was out, and I needed to trade out someone of higher value in order to get Walsh in. So, I think he lost, what was it, about 10k or thereabouts? Yeah, 10.6k. So he pretty much lost what he made the previous week. A little bit more, $500 more. But, for those of you who have him, I am fully expecting him to be rested this week. Just over the past couple of weeks, I think I mentioned on the podcast with Liam as well, that in the game the previous week against my mob in Carlton, he just looked lethargic. He wasn't running to the right positions. He wasn't chasing. So I think he's due for a rest. And, I mean, those scores indicated as well. And also his time on ground is dipping majorly. So I think he will be due for a rest. But I guess the one upside there is you could potentially hold him. He's not going to lose any cash if he doesn't play. So if you have other issues to deal with first and foremost, then you could probably keep him. But his break even there is an 84. And, he hasn't scored anywhere near that mark all season, really. I think apart from round 1 where it was 76. So he is a prime candidate to cash in. As I said, Johnson, he's out for 2 weeks, but just hold him. We can't afford to trade out these rookies because there aren't really many on the horizon at the moment, apart from Chincotta, obviously, and Sam Simpson as well. There's Ryan Angwin, as you can see there as well, but he's not scoring well enough. Sam Simpson as well, he's a bit of a worry there in terms of his job security, especially at the Cats. But don't be so hasty in getting rid of these players en masse. Just try and pick and choose for those downgrades that you can do. So I still think he fits in Freo's side, so I'm not too quick to cut him as yet. I mean, he hasn't made us enough cash anyway, beside that. and he's got a fair bit more cash to make us. So he should make us more cash going forward, and he should obviously score higher than 39 as projected there. Roberts as well, I'm keeping him, as I mentioned in the previous team talk, just because he provides that flexibility as a forward mid. It means that if I need to, I can swing like a Rosie, Dunkley, Taranto, Cogs into the midfield as a bit of coverage, and then I can play a Green or a Ryan off the bench if need be. So even though my rookie bench cover-wise is looking a bit thin, that flexibility that the DPP provides me gives me a little bit of warmth, I guess, and security. It keeps me warm at night and safe. In terms of the rucks, both boys played pretty well. Sean Darcy, scored a 114, a little bit down on what he scored in previous weeks, but you can't expect him to be scoring 130 odd every single week. So aside from that, did pretty well. Faces the Hawks this weekend as well, and might have a day out because they've only got Ned Reeves and the young Ramsden as a chop-out ruck option. And then Harry Sheasel, again, he's bounced back nicely, 107. Not being, cannibalised in terms of his scores by Aaron Hall and scoring well. He's just had that one down week. Every other week he scored over a ton. So 30 disposals and 11 marks. Love to see that juiciness. Kay Chandler, tonned up, 104. Wasn't expecting that. And again, off the back of last week with that relatively high score on 85, he's well and truly kickstarted his cash generation if he hadn't already last week. So he's projected to go up another 50k over the next couple of weeks. So he is someone that I'm glad I've kept hold of. And again, I've been saying it, Liam's been saying it, and apologies, but for those of you out there, we hope that you followed our advice in prioritising bringing him in before price changes, because he's gone up 207.5k and he could go up to 250k. Incredible scene. So he's someone that you can really be confident in playing from week to week now. He's well entrenched in the best 22 for Melbourne, but also being able to produce high enough scores. So happy enough with him as F6. On the bench there, Fergus Green had a bit of a downer with a 28. It's probably due because he was playing out of his skin over the previous 3 weeks there, but he's made us a nice bit of cash there. His break-even's creeping up, so if you need to, I guess, cash in someone, you could potentially do it. He's made us over 160k, but I'm looking to keep him at least in the short term, just in terms of that strength it gives me forward if I need to, as I said, swing someone from the forward line into the midfield. And then Samson Ryan, again, went up another 40.3k. He's gone up 126.8k. So for those of us who brought him in at that 156.5k mark, or even cheaper than that, he's already made us, if you got him in at this point here, he's made us close to 100k. And if you got him in at the basement price of 123.9, he has made us 127, roughly 127k. And he's could potentially go up another 40k over the next couple of weeks. So he's done us well here, which is really good, especially in light of not many cash cows being at least confident cash cows that we can have a bit of security in knowing they're going to play from week to week, as we saw with Wagner on the weekend and a few others. So that's pretty much how my team shapes up at the moment. So let's delve into the juicy part of the team talk, of course, which is delving into all things trades, heading into round 8. And I'm pretty happy. Well, let's just first off make some quick switches. First off, going into round 8, we've got Brisbane playing first up. So if you're sticking with Wilmot and you have Constable in defence, or even Cowan, depending on if he plays, you can't do it with Cowan because I should know this, being a Carlton man. But Carlton are playing Brisbane in the first game, so you won't be able to use Cowan as a loop for Wilmot or McKenna if you've got him, but you could use Constable. So that is an option. So the one thing I'm happy about with my team is the strength across the field. So I've got 4 keepers here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 keepers in the midfield. Then I've got 2 keepers at the moment. I'm going to count Marshall because he responded to my grill in our podcast. So thumbs up to him. I'm going to count it as a 1.5 keeper at the moment, Marshall. Yeah, not on notice anymore, but just make sure you keep going. Taranto, Dunkley, Rosie, Canelio, a 4. Sheasel, I'm going to count him as a 5 at the moment. Just because he's had 5 out of 6 tons in every game he's played so far. I've only got 15.1k in the bank. And the man that I'm looking at this week, and it's probably no surprise, it is almost the piece de resistance of my team. And it's this man. It's the man down here who we refer to as the pink sweaty pig himself in CLARRY Oliver. Because I can smell, there's a bit of bacon smell in the air. It's wafting through. And I was very jealous when Liam got him a couple of weeks back. And he is someone who can punch out a high score from week to week. Super high floor, super high ceiling. And he's going to help me go forward from here. Just another step as well. Just, in terms of players that I've got that potentially, as a combined combo that other teams don't have, will help me get a leg up, hopefully. But what it does mean is I'm going to have to sacrifice someone at a higher price point in order to get him in. And I'm not going to sacrifice any of these guys that I've got here because they're keepers. So, as I mentioned earlier, Hopper, he was actually someone that I was thinking of doing, as in a trade to CLARRY in maybe 2 to 3 weeks' time, if he was able to maintain his high average. He stuffed that up on the weekend, to put it bluntly. So he is now in the firing line. And the difference in price between Hopper and CLARRY, so CLARRY is 652, Hopper is 446. So that's, 206, roughly, thereabouts. So I'm going to have to find that bank somewhere. And luckily I've got Philippou, who needs to be chopped. And I've also got a Cowan, or I've got Wilmot, who can be chopped. You could probably put Fergus Green in there, but I'm happy to keep him. And just a reminder as well, in terms of those of you out there doing trades at the moment, make sure you check it out in terms of how, trading in and trading out of players is going to affect your buys. So for me, round 15 is the one that I'm probably most worried about. And Fergus Green is actually playing round 15. So I'm looking to potentially keep him off the back of that. Wilmot does as well as Philippou. So it's kind of hard. Someone needs to be sacrificed here, or at least 2. All the other weeks look pretty good for me. So Philippou, I think he's the first one to go. And then in terms of outside of that, I'll probably, let's just say Wilmot for now. Chincotta is the obvious one. He's in the, arguably the most, no surprise, most traded in player at the moment, coming off a score of 88. So well worthy. 102 bargain basement price. As a Carlton man, I can tell you with confidence, and just seeing the way that he played in the weekend, he was playing alongside Sard and alongside Doherty as well. Cowan probably will make his way back into the team, but Chincotta's playing that well that he deserves to keep his spot. So Cowan may spend another week or 2, maybe even more, on the sidelines. Hopefully he doesn't, for our sakes as a cash cow, but Chincotta, let's get him in. So let's just change here to break even. And his break even's negative 97 as well. So juicy price. Wilmot, and that's the other thing as well. Chincotta is a defensive midfielder. So if you're trading a midfielder and you need Chincotta, you don't need to do a switch. But Chincotta, I think for me, is going to play on field for the time being. So I'll end up switching him back. Outside of that, I am a fan of Sam Simpson, but I'm a little bit worried. I don't know yet if he's entrenched in Geelong's best 22. But with Jack Bowes, he's out of the team now because I think he did a hammy. So that may help shore up the spot for Sam Simpson. So it's a bit of a blessing in disguise there. Outside of him, the guy who made his debut on the weekend, where is he? We'll have to switch Chincotta into the midfield again. Where is he gone? Josh Whittle. He scored a 38, but he looked really good, took the game on. Big build for a young bloke as well. So he's someone that I'm thinking about potentially bringing in. May not be this week because, again, bringing in players off one game is fraught with danger. Scrimshaw came on as a sub. He was probably taking his spot on the side. So, yeah, I'm going to be waiting another week for Whittle at least if I'm going to do another down trade, potentially for Cowan. So switch Chincotta back into defence, and we'll bring in Sam Simpson for the time being. Again, he's got a mid-forward eligibility, so a bit more flexibility as well. Another string to the bow there. Scored a 58 and scored a 69 in his first game, so pretty solid. He's been in and out of the Cats side, really, but over the years, he's been on the list for about 4 or 5 years maybe, but he has been struck down with injury pretty badly in recent years. There you go, dates back to 2017. Wow. And he was a little bit of a dynamo. I think was it 2021? No, because he only played those like 2 games there. Which season was it? Was it 2020? He only played 6. Yeah, he had a nice run of games there. After again being the 123.9k rookie, and he actually made us, if you can remember back then, 160k or thereabouts. So he could be a nice little, if you can sort of, all he needs again is a high enough scoring game to kickstart his cash generation, but he's pretty consistent in and out of the side, and then was dropped, I think, or he might have got injured actually. I can't recall. Yeah, I think he was injured because he only played 47 minutes in that game. But up until then, he was actually scoring pretty well and playing pretty well. So, he didn't play last year. I think he was injured all year, and he's come into the side and he's performed pretty well. He's performed well enough anyway. Kicked 2 goals in both games as well. 2 goals, 1 actually in both games. So you can probably select him with a little bit more confidence now, as I said, with Bowes being out of the team. Probably fighting with maybe Bruin for a spot, but I'm confident enough to select Sam Simpson. I think we almost need to take a little bit of a risk because rookies at the moment, apart from Chincotta, there's no one that we can select with extreme confidence. And Seamus Mitchell, of course, who looks like a pretty good player in the making, who will get opportunity at the Hawks from Sammy Mitchell. So let's complete these trades. Obviously gives me 261.4k. And I'll activate that boost. And now, with that cash, I've obviously got 707.7k there. I could go for someone like a Jordan Dawson, potentially, switch Chincotta into the midfield. I could go for a Sarong, who looks as though he could be a top 8 finishing midfielder at the moment. Track went absolutely bananas on the weekend. Lockie Neal, who's a nice price as well. Dangerfield, who we spoke of on the podcast, is a bit of a pod, being in only 5.1% of teams. McRae comes at a bit of a discount, but not confident in him with his role, especially with Bevo being his bloody coach. And there's a few other options there as well. But I think in terms of, and look, even Mills as well. But again, he's almost like a Liam Baker at the moment from Richmond, as a bit of a Swiss Army knife. Like, he's just thrown anywhere and everywhere that he needs to be. So I think head and shoulders above the rest. It's obvious there. Clary Oliver, 652. I was waiting and I was hoping for a couple of down games, and he's delivered quite nicely for me. So thank you so much. The big pink sweaty pig. He's an absolute gun. So he's dropped 47.3k in scores. Price. And then in terms of his scores, he's one of the more reliable players, as we all know. He's Clary. He's an absolute pig. Just pigs it up. So this game here against Richmond really helped in terms of dropping his price. You could potentially, again, wait another week, but why would you? I mean, now's the time to jump on him. He's facing Gold Coast in round 8 and then Hawthorn in round 9. So his next 2 weeks, and mind you, he actually averages the most points against Gold Coast, who actually know they're the second best average team that he scores against. So Adelaide's the no surprise there. He scored a couple of back-to-back 200-plus scores there against the Crows. But Gold Coast, you just have a look here. He scored 121, 166, and 106 over his past 3, and I think he extends beyond that as well. So now is the time to jump on him if you don't have him. Obviously, in 48% of teams. So not having him is almost hurting you more than if you do have him and he scores a bit of a downer. So it pretty much negates risk. But at that price point as well, it's a bit of a sliding doors moment, because I was either selecting Clary or I was selecting Laird in my starting team. And as it's worked out, Clary's gone down 47.3k. Laird's gone down 70k. So I mean, it's much for a muchness. Would have been nice to start with Clary because he's obviously scored a few more points, but it is what it is. And to have both of these guys in, look at...
Where's the juice? No, whizzing the juice! No, whizzing the juice!
Just the relief. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to do this again one more time. Is he going to let me do it? Just the click of this. Ready? Can you smell it? Can you smell the bacon? I can smell it. I can taste it. Amazing. Just to have him in my team. He is almost the prized, piece of the puzzle for my entire team because he is my ultimate, as I've called him on the podcast, he is the goose that lays the golden egg. He is the guy that lays the golden scores from week to week. Pigs it up, snout and trough action, just incredible. So to have him and then build out the rest of my team, with that midfield, leaves me with 55.2k as well, which is always nice, as I like to do, to sort of springboard me to the next primo, next upgrade. And there we go, let's confirm that. And that's how my team looks at the moment. Let's just switch around, just looking at the fixture on the right-hand side there. So Clarry's pretty obvious in terms of a bit of a CVC action as well from week to week. And that's the sort of bonus that you get with selecting Clary. So I've got the big three. I'm going to extend it to the big four maybe with Walshy, but we'll confine it to the big three at the moment in Bont, Clary and Laird. Laird obviously plays the game before Clary, so I'll probably be going VC, bit of a tough ask against the Cats as well. So I'm not expecting really Laird to put up a massive score, but Clary should, absolutely. And let's just have a look at their projections. Clary is projected for a 123 and a Laird 112. I could actually, that'll work as well. I could go Clary because I'm most confident obviously in Clary being a VC. You could put the VC on Clary and then potentially the C on Bont against the Giants. With his projected 134, I think he performs pretty well against the Giants. Yeah, look at that, 127, 120, and 100. So yeah, I might do that potentially. Give Laird a bit of a rest from the captain's armband and VC. He's done pretty well up until now. He's treated me well. So I put the C on Bont and the VC on Clary, the big pig, first up on debut in my team. But hopefully he scores well enough. Don't have to put the C on Bont. And then at that stage, I'll be able to switch Madden on field with the Saints play last game. Go bang bang. Make sure you've got the E on Marshall, who you're taking off. Clary scores well enough. Put the big C on the big Nick Madden, and away we go. Treat me well, good old Nick Madden. And that's it. That's pretty much how we stand at the moment, how we sit, how we lay, however we dance. It's incredible. So super happy with my team. Obviously leaves me a little bit short in terms of trades. As I said, I used one trade more than what I wanted to in terms of LDU going out of the side. I was going to keep the faith, but I think, as I said, it's just he's had too many issues with his foot. One too many injuries in that same area of his body as well. Doesn't bode well. So had to sort of bite the bullet there. And as I said, Sammy Walsh was right for the picking. So that there is my team. And in terms of just counting the number of keepers I've got, happy enough as well with Chin Cotter playing on field. Seamus Mitchell, I could potentially switch with Sheasel and then play a Fergus Green or a Samson Ryan if I wanted to do that. But I've now got, in terms of keepers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We'll say 12 and a half. 13 and a half, 14 and a half, 15 and a half, 16 and a half, 17 and a half. So that there is, and then to have like the big three as well, Bont, Oliver, and Laird at this point of the season, it's ahead of projection in terms of when I was hoping to get them in. And I think just in terms of the movements I've made, the guys that I've held to eke out a little bit more cash in terms of cash cows has really helped me and put me in good stead. So fingers crossed, things keep going to plan, and more cash cows crop up as well over the coming weeks. But that's pretty much where I'm at. Beyond this week, I think I'll be sitting pretty. I think I'm not going to be making too many more plans. I mean, I've got 55.2k, but I've made a bulk of the trades ahead of schedule, as I said. So I think conversely to that, I guess, is I would have potentially been waiting for cash cows to fatten a bit more if I needed to. So I'm just ahead of schedule. I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself because we are heading into buys as well. And I want to make sure that I have enough players to cover the bye weeks. So I'm going to be keeping hold of a few guys there. And if rookies pop up that are going to be helpful for my buy structure, especially around 15, I'll be looking to potentially bring them into my side. Hopefully Constable could come back and play at some point, especially over the buys. That would be very helpful. But what will be the fact that I've got Seamus Mitchell, Chin Cotter, Ashcroft, if you can count him as a rookie, and Chandler, with being 4 rookies on field, and pretty decent rookies in themselves as well. Like, to be able to just rely on those few rookies across my team is something I'm pretty happy with. So and DPP as well. There's DPP swings across the board. There's mids defenders. There's forward defenders. There's forward mids. There's ruck forwards. So I've got enough coverage as well, which is something that's given me a little bit of security as well, and a bit of perspective with having less trades than probably what I wanted to have at this point in time. At least I know that I've got a bit of coverage across the park if need be. So hopefully things, knock on wood, continue well from here on out. But I'm super happy, and this is, I must say, it's the happiest I've been with my side in seasons. And I'll give you a bit of an insight in terms of, so where I'm ranked at the moment, 6,480. It's very much on par at this point in the season with, sorry, let me go back there. Go to history. Dating back to 2019, which is the infamous season where I finished 147th overall. And that season, at round 7, I was projected 3,930. So it's at least half the rank of what I am now. But the rank that I have at the moment is one of the best ranks I've had at this point in the season. So I went from strength to strength there, and it was off the back of trading. So hopefully I follow a similar trajectory where I continue, because I've put in the groundwork early. Other teams are trying to catch up, and they're cashing in for cash cows that aren't available now. And I've kind of ridden waves like Michelini and a few other players. I've held on to the likes of Chandler, and it's going to give me a nice ride to the top, hopefully, or at least near the top, because I still have some ground to make up. But just as a bit of perspective as well, for those of you out there who had a slow start to the season, we were all down on ourselves. But you can see how quickly you can make up rank. And as I said, and as Liam said as well on the podcast, that it was due to the fact that a lot of people had similar teams, if not the same teams, by 1 or 2 players heading into the season. And it was always after price changes where people start trading that their teams differentiate, and that the gap widens between all the teams. So having a decent week, as you would have seen, there was a slow going, and then over the past 3 weeks, I've pretty much halved my rank over the past 3 weeks each time. So happy enough with that, and hopefully it continues as well. So I've been quite aggressive in terms of my trades and boosts, but we'll see how we go, and hopefully it can pay dividends going forward. That's it, guys and girls. Hopefully you've taken a little bit away in terms of my strategy. As always, if you have any questions, comments, feel free as always to list them below. Any questions as well, or advice that you're looking for with regards to your own team, feel free to list them below as well. But as I always say, if you can give us a like, if you can give us a subscribe, that would be absolutely amazing. And I feel as though our subscriber numbers go up off the back of these team talks. So it does say that you guys are enjoying this content. So that's great to see. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you for the normal weekly podcast, which will be released on the Tuesday, the 2nd of May, I think, if I've got the timings correct. So we'll see you then, and as I always say, I'll see you same time, same place. We'll catch you then.